Thank you to our sponsors, K. Flynn Insurance, elect Bruce Becker for the Lincoln County Fire Board, and the Crafty Midwestern Mommy for their continued support of the Lincoln County Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Lincoln County Podcast. Super excited to have you guys. Make sure to check out all our sponsors, and if you got a second, like and subscribe, follow, help us show love like we are to everybody in Lincoln County. So I've got a guest on today, very excited about this. She is a local here in Lincoln County, and we're going to talk about her business. So I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce herself. And again, thank you guys.
Hi, I'm Jen Fette. I have a small business. I do hair and permanent makeup in Moscow Mills, and yeah, been in Lincoln County all my life.
So what is permanent makeup?
Permanent makeup is tattooing, like it's microshading.
Okay.
We do brows and lash line enhancement and lip blushing.
Lip blushing. So is that now, I obviously like tattoos.
Yeah.
What is, so my mom a little while back had asked about wanting her eyebrows done. And I'm like, well, you don't have any tattoos. And she's like, yeah, I just want to get my eyebrows. And I got kind of a giggle because I'm like, well, a tattoo on your face for your first one seems a little bold.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's not bad because it's such a small...
So it's like really light, feathery strokes.
Yeah.
You're not going as far like into the skin as you do like with body tattoos because your face is just so much more thin. Like you've got thinner skin. So and we do use numbing cream too, so that helps like tremendously. Yeah.
Have you found good results with the numbing cream on the face?
Yes, I honestly don't even think I would do. I wouldn't even do it if somebody was like allergic to lidocaine or something like that. I don't even think I would do it. Yeah.
Huh. I know.
I think it would hurt too bad, to be honest with you.
I've seen some people where the numbing cream like works really well, and I've had other people, because a buddy of mine, his whole torso's done, front and back. And I remember when he messaged me. Now it's all black and white. It's a Chicano style lowrider, like that's because that Mexican heritage tattoo is what it is for him. And I was like, bro, you are way tougher than me. And he sent me the photo. And he was getting this stuff online at the time. It was when it was first coming out. He had really good results with it. I've tried it on this hand.
I was going to say, especially with your fingers.
My fingers didn't hurt at all. No. But I've working and hitting stuff in martial arts, working my hands my whole life, my hands. I mean, like down here, the blue, when you get near the thumbnail or the fingernail, that part sucks. But again, zzz, and they're done.
And it's done, yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But we had talked about that with the creams. Like there's some things to try with them. So that's really cool to know that they do work on the face.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I would think that makes sense with the skin. Would absorb that and would take that type of stuff really well up there.
Yeah, for sure.
So that makes complete sense.
And takes away that pain, you know, that like constant like.
Whether it actually worked or not, the placebo effect of people thinking it was better.
This is true.
Is true. Now, I've heard that too with smaller tattoos. That stuff's great. I know. I've talked to tattoo artists who are doing like really big pieces, and they're like, well, you got to like go back in, and that gets to be a headache or whatnot.
On the big pieces, I can imagine.
Yeah.
A huge headache because you got to wait that time, you know, and that time takes out of your time to do somebody else too.
What Wally had always told me too is he liked to scrub the skin, like agitate, like open the pores up and really irritate the skin, slather that on, then saran wrap them up.
Yep.
Then do the tattoo, but then you gotta like for the whole process. It's not on the bigger ones. It's not worth it because I
wouldn't think so.
I tossed the idea around when we were doing my back just because there were days I just didn't sit well. So that's really good to know.
Yeah.
Now, so they do the eyebrows, they do the lip blushing, so that's where they get their lips tattooed.
Yep.
Now, does that replace ever using lipstick or?
So, I mean, because our skin, like our facial skin is so much different than like body tattoos, like you've got your environmental, you know, things, you've got your sun, you've got topical creams and lotions and everything that women use that can kind of cause fading more. So, I mean, like over time, you do have to get
you have to go back in. Yeah, touch-ups. Well, you got to do it with anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with body tattoos, I've never like had to have like touch-ups or anything, but yeah.
Well, it depends on where they're at. I know with the hands, that's something that I've honestly never had.
Because
I've
it's
had
more exposed to sun too, and you're washing them all the time. There's chemicals involved.
And they shed skin cells more, and I would think your face is the same way, to where it would shed a lot. So it's something you can go back in, get touched up as needed.
It lasts, you know, after your touch-up, it should last like a year to 3 years. So it just kind of depends on how well your skin holds it and what kind of creams you use and
how well people take care of their skin too.
And the aftercare is huge. If you don't take care of it, then it's going to fade. And
I'm real cautious. We bought long sleeve BMX shirts that are UVB or UVA, something like that.
Yeah.
For when we mountain bike, because I went out, I got my son, like my shoulder, something got sunburned one time, and I'm like, oh, no. I have spent way too much time, and even the money, it's the respect for the artist and the time I've spent with my back and my chest, everything. I was like, I'm not getting sunburned, and my arms are all pretty well done now. I just wear long sleeve. Yep. But I know I've watched people go get ink and then get sunburnt, ink and sunburnt, and it's so, like,
no, it's so terrible. It's
well,
like,
but
no, don't do that.
First of all, the sunburns are bad anyways, but why spend thousands on tattoos and then mess them up? Like,
not take care of them.
What did I do? I fell.
I am Julie Forster with Crafty Midwestern Mommy, your local boutique embroidery and fabric store. I sell fabric as well as sewing notions and also teach classes. And then we also, on the other side of our business, do machine embroidery, custom apparel for local businesses, and just personalized gifts. Again, the store's name is Crafty Midwestern Mommy, and that's how you can find us on all social media platforms as well as our website.
Oh, I gouged my hand after one of these at work. I gouged it real hard. And I was like, where's the ink? Like, I thought I was like, oh, okay, good.
Like,
it wasn't deep enough. I thought I messed up my tattoo because it hadn't been too long. And I was like, well, I don't want to make that phone call.
Yeah.
Hey, I did something
like
stupid.
Kind of screwed that one up.
Yeah, can you fix that? I didn't want to do that. So, yeah, I could totally see that with the face. And what kind of inspired you to get into that?
So I actually, after I turned 40, and you know, in the 90s and early 2000s,
saying that you turned 40 never gets easier, does it?
Yeah, no, not really. So, I mean, you know, overplucking in like the early 2000s. I mean, we all went through that, my generation at least. Yeah. And my hair, the color just like went away. Yeah. It was like if I didn't wear makeup and wear powder, I didn't have any. So I'm like, I'm going to get mine done. And then I started thinking, I'm like, because I was kind of I've been doing hair for 24 years and kind of wanted something to like relight my fire, relight my passion. So I just decided to get into it.
Well, that's cool.
It's been amazing ever since. I love it.
It seems to be growing a lot. I keep seeing more and more on it and more popularity. I think with people getting more comfortable with tattoos. Yes. That side of it, that would be considered more cosmetic. Yeah. That side has really seemed to take off. Yeah. I keep coming across it more like in mainstream or, man, who was it? Some tattoo artist I follow from out of state put something up doing that for people. Yeah. Or the one. There's a lot of different the cosmetic styles that I've seen where people have done for scarations that people had.
Yeah, like areolas for like breast cancer survivors and stuff like that, which I think is really cool.
It's wild. Yeah. It is wild at what they're able to do through that artwork. No, what they've been able to do with it. And what else was it? I seen something else. It wasn't just the areolas or the face.
Camouflaging probably. Like
camouflaging scars. They were camouflaging scars. Yeah. I don't remember who did it. I seen probably a reel just popped up and it was amazing. Yep. And the tattooing over them's amazing too, but I've seen where they camouflage the scars for stretch marks
and then there's like a new one that they have, like, I don't even know what it's called, but like, you know, I think it's hypopigmentation is what it's called, where you have like a dark and then it's like light. It's almost like your skin's fading. Yeah. They do it like
they could go in.
Yeah, they do that now too. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah, it makes complete sense. Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense with tattooing and everything of where it originated. That it kind of makes common sense. You could do this. Like, it's not just body modification.
Right.
And you said you've done hair for 24 years. Yeah. Was that just something that you wanted to get into? Or
when I was a little girl, I was always a tomboy, which is kind of funny because like when I would tell people that that's what I was going to do, they're like, what? You know, like seriously? So, and I'm still a tomboy, but I just remember sitting in the salons with my mom when she would get her hair done and just be fascinated by watching them like cut hair. Like, it was just fascinating to me. So I just knew at a very young age, I'd say probably 5 or 6 years old, that's what I wanted to do.
See, I tossed around about going to beauty school at one point.
Did you really?
Both of my parents did.
That's
cool. My mom had I always wanted to teach martial arts, but I knew I wanted a job that allowed me a little more flexibility. I worked during the day and I was tired when I went to teach every night. And it always frustrated me. As I was like, how can I teach this first and then go to my day job when I was still an instructor and when I was still kind of getting the school off the ground. And my parents had both been hairdressers. My mom opened a salon off of St. Charles Rock Road, Natural Bridge area in the 70s. And she had a salon there, My dad, when there was a big UAW layoff back in the 70s, late 60s, I don't know, late 70s, I don't know. He went to beauty school. Him and a bunch of his friends decided to meet girls. They go to beauty school. Well, my dad ended up liking it, like cutting hair. And his buddies went back to GM. Well, he stayed at GM, but he cut hair on his off time. That's cool. Well, he ended up getting a job at my mom's salon. And then when they got together, then, because he did women's hair.
So this was before they were married?
This was in, they got married in 75. This had been 72, somewhere in there.
That's cool.
And then they opened a salon together when they did, like, all of the, from what they've told me about it, I obviously wasn't alive yet, they did, like, antique dressers as the stations and all that. And they had one somewhere over there. And then when we moved to O'Fallon, my mom worked at one. So there was O'Fallon Plaza. I don't know how familiar you are with O'Fallon.
Yep.
North end of town off Main Street, there's O'Fallon Plaza, but then there's another plaza across from it that has like a 2-story corner section, and then it loops out. It hasn't had anything great in it in 30 years. But it used to be a poppin' plaza in the 80s.
Yeah.
In O'Fallon. She cut hair up there for a little bit, and then she just did stuff. Because my mom's old enough, Dad will be 82 the 31st of this month. So she's 79.
Okay, so they had you at a later
Oh, yeah, I was my dad's 40th birthday present.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was the third marriage. I'm the fourth, technically fourth kid. I think there's 2 others out there, but I'm the fourth. Yeah, fourth kid. Because my mom had like 7 miscarriages, and as I teased them for years, I was probably adopted. Until the older I got, the more I looked like my dad. I actually did one of those age filters on my phone the other day and sent it to Casey. She's like, Jesus, I'm traumatized. I look just like my dad. She was like, I am, yep. She was like, don't you're on the couch. I don't want you, don't even touch me.
That is funny. Yeah,
she was dying. She was like, oh, this is what I get to look forward to. You as your dad. But nice. That's how they got together. Well, when I was like in my 20s, ran around, a bunch of my friends were hairdressers or going to school for it.
That's cool.
I knew 10 or 15 of them back then that we all hung out or whatever through our groups. And there was a dude I knew that cut hair and did martial arts. I was like, I've always kind of had a little artistic side. I'm like, I could do that. I'd enjoy it. Yeah. I'd like that. It just never kind of worked out, but it was something I always thought was interesting. I always enjoyed, like, if the girls had a hair comp, something going on, I'd always volunteer, let them butcher up my hair, let them do something stupid. I was like, whatever, I don't care. Hair shows. I always thought it was enjoyable. I had fun with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is, I always thought it was a neat skill.
It is. It's different.
Yeah, I saw a lot of challenges to it, fixing bad jobs that people do on their own. Yep.
Box dyes, box colors.
Yes. Well, and then running to Walgreens in the middle of the night for my mother when she got a color that didn't turn out right because she bought a box color, which she was doing her own hair at home, or my aunts would be over doing stuff, and I'd run with them to go or out to State Beauty to get stuff. And I'm talking State Beauty when it was in St. Charles, Old Town at the bridge.
Oh, really? Okay.
So remember there was a 2-lane bridge. But they tore it down years ago. In St. Charles, there was a 2-lane bridge. They blew up and dropped that curved that you could cross over. You had the Blanchette, which is a new one, but then right down upstream in Old Town, you could go over. Yeah, because my dad and I almost died on it in his Corvette. The brakes went out on the bridge.
Oh, my goodness.
And there was a State Beauty Supply in an old 2-story building. I went down there with them. That would have been 87. Yeah. Something like that, because my mom had her Caprice. We had a 75 Caprice, but I remember going down there with her. Yeah. And I always I don't know. I always liked it. I've always thought it was fascinating. I like the creative side of it.
It is. It's definitely fun.
And is that what kind of drew you to it?
I just was fascinated by it. I mean, I can still recall, like, the place I was at. Like, I was sitting at one of the hood dryers, just sitting there watching them cut, and I was just, like, so fascinated by the combing up of it, and the combing and the cutting and just all of it just really fascinated me. So I knew right then and there that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And
that's cool. Yeah, that's neat to be able to find something like that. I meet people that fall into professions just because, whatever, and they end up liking it. Yep. Or you get people that are really drawn to it. Like, I've known people that are really drawn to different things, and they're able to take something and go over and above with it. And when there's a passion behind it, they could do. There's a lot that can be done.
There's a lot to learn too. I mean,
Yes.
still all constantly. You're not stuck in just like one thing where you're.
Yes.
You know, that's kind of where I kind of. It's funny because I kind of got a little stuck in that, where it's like, you know, you do the same clients over and over and over, and I love that too, but you kind of get a little stale.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And so I was like, I need to find something else to do, and so I got into like fitness coaching actually too, with Beachbody for 3, 4, 5 years I think, when I had Brielle.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, that was another thing too. When you have a kid, like everything kind of takes a back seat.
Oh, it shifts everything for you.
I wanted to be there with her. I wanted to, you know, raise her and be home with her and stuff too. So, you know, going through, she'll be 10 next week. So it's like going through, you know, that time and just having those consistent clients where they're just wanting the same thing pretty much all the time is great, you know, because it's consistent, but it does get boring. And I was like, man, I got to find something to do that's going to light my fire, make me feel alive again.
Yeah, for sure.
So I did the fitness thing for a while, and it just, you know, I'm sure you know how it is. Like, you care a little bit more about it than others
way more than
do.
they do.
Yeah, so
that's why I don't offer fitness classes at the school anymore.
It's too much.
When I started out, I did the wellness winter with Above and Beyond Chiropractic and had people come in. It was for a little bit, but then I would do some other things. So I was always looking at things to supplement the school. I went down and was actually looked at going to school for massage therapy, which would have been a great thing to partner with it, but it would have, my thought was if I had a student injured or something like this, you know, you could help out. Plus I could do, with the school, I could put a back room and do massages.
Yeah.
And
that's a good idea.
I had thought about that at one point, but the schooling didn't work, and I did the fitness things. And everybody, when I opened the school, every juice, you name it, supplement place come in wanting to do weight loss stuff.
So this was before you had the school then?
This is when I first opened it 15 years ago, and I had, you know, we had a Pilates yoga class, we had a cardio kickboxing, like we did a bunch of stuff, but I like teaching martial arts. I never could wholeheartedly get into it, no matter how much I learned.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating. It's something I still struggle with the martial arts is I'm here to teach and want to help everybody as best I can. And the ones that just want to show up and go home and don't really put that effort in, adults or kids, I struggle with that. I have to double down and really focus on that when keeping it amusing for everybody, keeping it fun.
And for yourself too, I'm sure.
Well, and that's what Kendall and I joke about. The kids are like, when we do something fun tonight, we're like, forms are fun. Like we enjoy doing this over and over again. There's something broken inside of us. Like just I can do my roundhouse kick all night. I'll be content. Yeah. So keeping it mixed up. So I get what you mean. And with the fitness stuff, they want to hire you. So many people want to hire a fitness coach or a personal trainer to be like, okay, I'm accountable now, but then they're only accountable on those days. They show up and they don't. You know, like whenever I do private lessons, so if I was with a kickboxing coach, with my trainer, whatever, I'm always like, listen, I'm the guy that's going to do the work when I leave. Like if you tell me no cheese, I'm not eating cheese.
Right,
like
that's me too.
I'm doing this. I'm the one that's going to put the work in the background.
Yeah.
I told my speaking coach, Jesse, I'm the guy. You give me homework. I'm going to do the homework because I know what it's like to be on your side.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do that. Yes. I'm going to be the guy because they're always like, wow, your results are so good. That's because I listened to everything you said.
Yep.
Wow, that's different. I'm like, yes, that is very different, right? And that's something that I would have. I remember one of them come in one night with bean burritos. Yeah. And they're like, but they're bean burritos. I'm like, you can't be eating Taco Bell when you're trying to win and lose weight. I haven't had Taco Bell. I haven't had Taco Bell since Casey and I have been together. I think it's been over 11 years, 12 years now since I had Taco Bell.
I don't blame you.
It's
trash.
And I lived on it because my second job was Jiffy Lube in O'Fallon. Taco Bell was across the street where you could get a Nacho Bel Grande for $2.99.
Oh, yeah.
So we were all broke. That was the easiest place. My boss would be like, you going over there? I'd be like, yeah. He's like, give me one too.
Yep.
And that's what we did. It was cheap and easy.
Yep.
Now I look back on it, it's like, oh my gosh, wait till I teach you about nutrition.
Oh my gosh. I know, like looking back in your 20s, it's like, how did I even survive like all the soda that I drank and all the crap that I ate? And
I watched
being a hairstylist, it was like you ate whenever you could, and that was it, you know? So.
Yeah, no, I look back on that stuff in the summer months when it's really hot. I'm just chugging water and different things, and I'll see like inside one of the foreman's vans, and it's like just Mountain Dew bottles and pizza.
The big ones, the big
all
liters,
this stuff, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
How many days have you went without water?
How can you do that? Like, how can you work and sweat like that and then feel hydrated?
But I did it.
Yeah.
I did all the time. I mean, we still drank water. We would have jugs with us, but I lived on Mountain Dew.
Yeah, me too.
Because when I opened the Taekwondo school, I went from working all the time to just running the school.
Yeah.
Lots of sitting. Started having issues with my back, gained over 30 pounds,
Yep.
started looking into nutrition, realized I was drinking 3 32-ounce Mountain Dews a day on a good day.
Yep.
And I did the math.
Fountain, right? Because those were the good ones.
Yep. And I did the math on the amount of sugar, and I just sat in my office like this.
Yeah.
And I redid the math, and I'm like,
no, that's right.
how am I not diabetic? How am I not sick?
Right.
And then I noticed when I started doing my fight camps, because I cleaned my diet up, but I did a little of this, still drank a little alcohol, whatever. When I would do a fight camp and I was eating really clean, drinking a lot of water, my hairstylist Anna would be like, "What are you doing different? Your skin looks so good.
You look younger."
And I'm like, it does look better, doesn't it? And then I realized it was cutting out alcohol and soda.
Yep.
Because I would always drink. I didn't sit and drink a soda, but I would do Captain and Coke.
Yep.
And so I was drinking soda, and rum is just straight sugar.
Yep. Well, and your body like metabolizes it like that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. That was when I learned that, because my excuse was it's just one drink.
Yeah.
Just having one. Well, then when I learned how your body reacts to it and metabolizes everything, I was like, oh, I am absolutely killing everything I did by having that one. Well, that's not worth it at all.
Your immune system too. Like
yes.
your immune system goes to crap. Yep.
It was amazing. And then you look back at how much we did that in our 20s. It's
gosh, I know,
insane.
like how we survived. I think God just like makes you, he knows what you're going to go through in your life till you get like to a point of wisdom. And then it's like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore.
Well, see, I never drank.
Yeah.
But once I got to a certain age, I got just so fed up with explaining to people I wasn't interested in drinking.
Yeah.
My excuse always is I had a fast car. So I was always like, nah, I might race. Because I got out so many racing tickets because I was sober. The cops would pull me over, be like,
no alcohol,
no weed, no nothing.
Yep.
Car was clean.
Yep.
I'd be like, yes, sir, no, sir. They're like, what you doing? I was like, was looking for that guy. You caught us. I was racing that Civic over there, racing that whatever. And they'd be like, get out of here. You're not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And then they'd give me some crap about, well, they'd tell me something, like, I got Camaro at home to eat this thing up. Like, then we'd end up talking smack. Like, I at one point, I've been pulled over like 24 times without a ticket. Because I was cool with cops. My car was legal. My car was always clean.
Yeah.
I had to make fun of them. I got stopped in O'Fallon one night, and they were searching my car. Like, you got a lot of boxes in the back. We got to look at it. I was like, all right. I was like, but my mom works for Walmart. They're her boxes.
Right.
So she's moving stuff. No, they were empty. They were all folded up. I was like, I'm not like, all I could think of was like the old Ninja Turtles movie where they're like cutting open boxes and stealing stuff, or Fast and Furious. I'm like, whatever, search it. And I was laughing because I was standing there and they're laughing. They're like, what you laughing for? I was like, well, you guys stopped me because, looking red Mustang, loud, exhaust, you're searching it, you worry about me drinking, I'm younger, and they're like, yeah, and I was like, 5 people that are drunk just drove by that I was at the party with. I said, they're all laughing because we were all it was like a Super Bowl thing. We were in a hot tub hanging out. I didn't drink because I was going to go home and change and go race.
Yeah.
And they all drove by laughing because I'm the one that got stopped. I was like, all them people laughing at me have all drank a 6-pack tonight at least. I said they were drinking at the party.
I was the only one that didn't.
Yeah. And they were like, dang. Yeah, they couldn't tell if I was bullshitting them. I'm like, keep searching the car. There's nothing in it. Like, I used to armor all my glove box. Like, over the top. Everything was clean.
I could see that.
I had picked a friend up one time, and she got in, sat down, and I turned and hit the brakes, and she slid into the dash.
Because the armor.
I armor-alled the floor. Yeah. I armor-alled the floor mats. I was like, sorry.
Sorry, it's a little slick.
I was like, I get bored.
That's funny.
But yeah, when you look back at that stuff, and then the alcohol, and like I said, I never drank much. So when I decided to stop, it was like, okay, I'm done.
It's like no big deal.
Yeah.
And the culture now, it's like if you don't drink, you're looked at like you have 8,000 heads.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's changing a lot. I've got so many people I'm friends with on social media that are all ages that have made the decision just to stop because they've, and I think that a lot of them it's CBD and marijuana tinctures and different things that they can take to help anxiety without drinking. And a lot of people just realizing it's unhealthy and they don't want to do it. It's really cool.
Like the alcohol actually causes the anxiety though. Like I feel like it causes so much more of that. Like the depression and all of that. So then you're trying to like medicate yourself with that and you're causing more and more and more.
Oh, for sure.
Line. Yeah.
For sure. And it just makes a big difference for so many people. It's really cool to kind of see that trend. And when I see someone post about their sobriety, I try to make sure to jump on and really,
It should be celebrated.
Talk it up, because I don't post about the fact that I quit drinking because I didn't have a problem. I wasn't an alcoholic. I wasn't doing anything bad.
You just did it because your friends were like,
yeah, I just drank, and I'm a habit-forming person. So if I do something on Monday, I'm going to do it every day. So I would leave the school, have a drink, do my paperwork, and that was it.
It was like your routine.
It was just a routine thing for me. So once I nipped it, which doing what did we do? Did a little fruit at night, which would give me the sweet. To kick it, because that was more what I was craving, was the sugar is what I figured out. Once I detoxed off the sugar, that was actually worse than the alcohol.
Oh my gosh, it's so much worse. It's so much worse. It's so much more addicting and everything. It's crazy.
Halloween this year, with all the kids bringing candy into school. I was like 2 weeks in, I'm like, man, I got a problem. And I wasn't eating that much, but I craved it.
Well, it's like the little ones. The little ones get you in trouble because it's just a little one, and you end up having like 4 or 5 of those, and you feel like crap. You're inflamed, and you just feel like crap.
Well, and then
within showing up in your skin and everything else.
Well, and with 2 or 3 days, you're all of a sudden you're like, I got a sweet tooth. Like, I'll eat something. I'm not hungry, but I want something sweet.
That's me. Yep.
And I don't do that once I'm away from the sugar.
Yep.
I don't have that problem.
All the junk and all the other crap when you eat sugar like that.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
You
crave
then you want all of it.
Yeah, the pizza, which I love pizza. I will never turn down pizza, but it's...
I do my best to find like healthy versions of pizza.
Yes.
We picked up some of the Newmans.
Yeah.
Those are really nice, light little pizzas. That's
like
been
thin
kind of
crust,
something smaller that you could, bar food's my thing. That's always been my hang up. Yeah, it's bar food.
The fried, greasy,
Always in my go-to. If I have a sweet drink, gotta have mozzarella sticks or something. I'm actually trying to find, I gotta go by my dad's house and find them. We had a collage a friend of mine made. And it's a bunch of photos. It's actually a bunch of photos of me and her and all our friends when we hung out, but there's a bunch of pictures in it when I was drinking and all that, and it shows how heavy I got. And I want to find them for my tell show do, my talks I do. I've only got like 1 or 2.
You don't realize, too, how big you get.
No, I didn't realize it till looking back on it. I was like, you see the inflammation.
It's like, oh my gosh, that is bad. I'm not doing that again.
Joey and I laugh about that. The first reels I shot up here, after he posted them, I was like, damn. Boom, back at the gym every morning. I changed my diet up. My face leaned back out in like 3 weeks.
It's like, I'm not doing that again.
And he did the same thing, though. So he put up a reel and it caught an angle of his belly. And he was like, next morning, he's at F45 running. He was like,
I'm not sucking it in. I'm not
we were laughing, but I looked at it and you could see all the inflammation in my face because we were eating junk food.
Yep.
And immediately just cleaned it up. I was like, all right, that's because if I get a little over where my comfort zone is, I struggle at the dojo.
That's me too.
Well, I just struggle up there.
Literally struggle. It's mentally for me. I'm like,
as soon as the pants fit tight,
again,
as soon as you're like, ooh,
yep.
With me, a lot of it is moving around at the school. If I'm not eating right, I really if I really do stuff with the kids. And what's weird is if I do like a whole class with the kickboxers, I'm fine. But if I just do a little bit with them,
were you just showing them the kicks or whatever?
I'll be so sore the next day.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
But if I'm eating right, going to the gym regularly, I don't have it at all.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's wild. It's because you're like, oh, you just worry about your weight too much. No, if I go over 174,
you feel like crap.
I do. I feel like crap. And I move like crap with the kids. I notice my balance. Everything's different. So I have to.
Well, you're depressed. You get more like just, I don't know, like down. Like your mental, like the mental energy isn't there.
Yeah.
Like you're not as creative and happy and in a good mood and all that. Like it all makes a difference, in my opinion.
So did you say you've, to jump off topic, but jump back, I guess, you're always been from Lincoln County? Or
Yeah, I grew up in Musco Mills. Yep.
Okay.
Like my parents have a farm, which is where my salon is at.
Okay.
It's right up by like the 9th grade center. So the 9th grade center used to be my parents' property as well.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you know where that's at.
Yep.
But so they sold that to them. Gosh, I don't even remember. It's been a long time ago. So yeah, I grew up there on the farm, and I live in my grandparents' old house. So it's like we're all right together. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
Very,
so
very
we're
blessed.
at over by the 9th grade center.
So if you're coming like off of 61, like you'll take a right onto C.
Yep.
And then you'll come to a T in the road, and you'll take a right there, and it's the first house on the left. It's a little brick house on the first S corner.
Okay.
There. So
yeah, I go through there all the time.
Yeah, so my salon
both
just sits
ways.
back off of there. Yep.
I was gonna say, I feel like I saw a sign over there.
Yeah.
That explains too, because I've seen your husband over that way. I passed him before through there in the vans when we were doing Hamptons.
Yeah.
I think I was coming out the backside of Hamptons around that way, so that explains why I ran into him over there.
Yep.
That's really cool too. That's something about Lincoln County that I don't think people see as much other places, is the businesses and the local people that are still here.
Yep.
And doing businesses where it's not odd to go to someone's home for a business.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of stuff that does that.
Yeah.
I paint them all the time for people. I'm in them all the time.
Like massage therapy, like they have their own like rooms in there. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny about Lincoln County too, because like when I was a teenager, I hated how close the community was. I hated that everybody knew everybody and everybody knew everybody's business. I couldn't stand it, so I couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of moved out and went to St. Charles and kind of lived my life there for a while, and just I think it's good to venture out. I think a lot of people get kind of stuck in Lincoln County.
Yeah.
And they like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's like bad for them, but for me, I needed to go explore more of the world and more different people. And so when I came back, now that I'm older and now that I have a daughter, I absolutely love the small community. I love that like I can go down the street and know this person and that person, and then they know my parents, or like it's just, I love that part of the community. That's been really cool to like come back to that and appreciate it more, It
is. And I talked to a friend of mine. We grew up in O'Fallon, and O'Fallon was like that when we were kids. Like we could walk everywhere.
So much smaller.
We even like when we were kids, 4th of July was held at the Civic Park, and we talked about going up there by ourselves and different things that we could do. And we were discussing how Lincoln County is that now, whereas we could do that if we were still in O'Fallon or Wentzville. They've grown so much, and that's one thing we really like. We were at Night of 1,000 Stars. Ben and Jocelyn were running around doing stuff, and him and I were having that discussion of how I was like, doesn't this remind you of like O'Fallon when we were kids? He's like, that's it. He goes, it is. He said, it's so much like that. I said, my kids are up the hill, and if they pull something, Jamie is up there. She's probably going to whip their ass before they get to me.
Yep.
And that's something my stepson's had to learn, because once he turned 16, he's gotten in so much different trouble. And holy crap, dude, I'm like, listen.
You will be the first.
I find out all of it. Yep. They tell me at the gym. I was like, dude, I don't even have working out adjacent to the prosecuting attorney this morning.
Funny, yeah.
Knock your shit off. Yep. I'm going to find out if you don't use your turn signal.
Yep.
It's going to come back.
Yep.
So, and
especially when you're known like you are. Like,
when your name's out there too.
Yeah, absolutely. People, they're going to tell you.
Well, with the school, with whatever, I mean, the names out there, our businesses are out there, so you're just going to find out, but you're going to find out anyways, because that's the type of community it is.
It's just the community, yep.
And that's really cool, and that's something that I think a lot of us appreciate now and are here for.
Yeah,
yes,
now.
for sure.
Like, it was definitely not something I appreciated when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like wanting to do my own thing and have my own privacy or whatever, but yeah, coming back to that, raising Brielle in that, I love it.
No, I couldn't imagine that age of being a teenager in Lincoln County. Because I know how it was in O'Fallon, but O'Fallon was a little bit bigger by the time I was driving and stuff like that. But we still, still get around, still knew enough people.
Yeah.
Because I ran around O'Fallon or St. Charles-ish area. I didn't go to Main Street a whole bunch, just because it's too many fights, too many college guys wanting to fight.
Like that
That's what I'm told. Yeah. What did we have to go through there? We had to go there for something. I was like, there's no way. But I could see, like, nowadays, as small town as it is, I can't even imagine.
It was so small. I mean, like, the road that I grew up on was gravel. Like,
I was going to say, there's no way.
Literally, like, there was like 5 cars maybe the whole day. Now
That's
because
huge.
of the Hamptons, like, you have worked over there, but there's so much traffic on the road anymore. It's
Bryan
crazy.
Road to Highway K, Mexico Road there. My buddy Nathan grew up in the Brown house there, and that was a 2-lane road with cornfields that we used to ride our bikes on. And I remember us talking about the fact, because his parents had talked about it, they were going to put some big road through there. And we were like, we'll see, whatever. We were riding our bikes up and down it because that was farm.
Yeah.
And now, it's huge. You know exactly. Yep. For sure. Whereas like the north side of town hasn't changed that much in O'Fallon, but that side over there, I mean,
it's like Manchester Road. It's crazy.
Yeah, I avoid the traffic. But once you get out of Lincoln County, the traffic in Wentzville or whatnot is and good for them. I'm glad their areas have grown, but it's not for me.
No.
I'm ready to go even a little further north.
Like north. I know. I kind of thought about that myself, but we've got the farm, and we want to build
it's right
on the
there.
farms. Yeah, and like the salons there. I mean, I'm just blessed. Like
whole
families there.
I'd like to go out Highway C to Old Monroe.
Yeah.
Just because with the painting company, we do so much work. We do a lot of work in St. Charles.
I was going to say, so
that have it 79 would be really sweet for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see where it kind of ends up going.
Yeah.
With that. So what's your thoughts with, you've been doing a lot more stuff with the permanent makeup and your salon and like growing it lately. What are some things you're looking to do as you continue to grow? What's your plans?
Well, I mean, really my plan right now is just to create more income to be able to help financially with the family. Sean takes on a lot of that, pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
So that my big plan is just to, and really get to know more people in the community too. I mean, I'm not trying to be like this huge salon or anything. It's just too small to hold the capacity of a whole lot of people. But yeah, I'm looking to just meet more people and, make a better income and, just get my name
grow
out
your
there.
business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you don't have to grow it big. That was one thing I always misunderstood. Was that to be really successful or to do things you had to be big? And I hated telling people when I started growing both businesses, like if we couldn't work around something, I hated that. Or if I tell a customer I couldn't do it, but I realized once I got to a certain size that it just doesn't, it doesn't get better with size.
Well, I think too, like with like my industry especially, you've got to find that specific client for you too.
Yes.
Like I'm not for everybody, and like every client is not for me either.
Yeah.
And I think like when you start out with things like that, you want to say yes to everybody.
Yes.
But then the farther that you get into it, the more years that you're in it, you realize that like our personalities don't match, or like, you're a little too much for me, or I'm a little too much for you, or you kind of, I feel like not really fire clients, but you kind of figure out like,
you figure out who works with
you are. Yeah, absolutely.
I have that on the
That's
website
been
for the school.
interesting for me is just learning that part of it because I've been in it for so long. But now I'm starting to promote myself and promote the business.
Yes.
So it's like
it's different.
It is so different. It's so different.
It's a different feeling, and
you learn more about yourself too.
Yes, and you
really
learn what you want to deal
yourself.
with, who you want to be around.
Absolutely.
What clients just drain your energy. I've talked to people before that had clients that are just always negative. They don't want to work with them. I meet customers painting that I'll just text Casey, be like, just tell them no thank you.
Yeah.
Because I just tell them I'm not going to.
You can just feel it. You can feel the energy.
It's not going to work.
It's just different. Yeah, it is. It's...
Multiple times that we've had a massive issue with a client, I've had a bad vibe, but
went
person
ahead with it anyway. Have you done that?
Not me go ahead with it. The offices went ahead and signed because the client it was a $10,000-$20,000 job.
Yeah.
And they've been like, no, I think this is gonna be fine. I'll be like, man, just fuck it.
I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. Just tell them no.
Yep.
Be rude. I don't care.
Yep.
I'll call them and be rude. I don't like them.
Yep.
No. It's gonna be good. I talked to them. Everything's fine. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, red flags. It sure enough got burned.
Kick yourself in
a couple
the ass,
times to where now, and after each one of them, I was like, who had a bad idea? Who had a bad feeling? And they're like, okay, we're going to listen to these. I'm like, I'm telling you guys, I'm not trying to be like, oh, no more than you. I'm just telling you guys, I got a bad vibe from these people.
It's not worth the
money. And here's where we're at now.
It's not worth the money.
And that's why I insist on, I go and bid almost every single customer in person. And I'm actually working on a way, I've got to reach out to a friend of mine, Josh. By the time this airs, hopefully I'll have this figured out. But he posted the other day, he has like 6 schools in Kentucky. And he posted...
6 on his own? Like
yeah,
6?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So he has, we chat a lot because like I have all my different painting crews. It's very similar to how he structures his schools. And they do a goals meeting. I'd have to go back and look at what he called it. They do some type of a meeting with the student and the parent. Like, what are your goals? What are you wanting to do for your training?
Yeah.
I love it. I got to figure out how he does it. A friend of mine did something like that, but then
condense that because you're so busy, right?
He admitted that so a different friend had told me some stuff they do to onboard new students. And I was like, wow, that's really great. How many are you doing a month? Well, they enroll like 1 a month.
I got you.
I was like, oh, yeah, we had 27. That month we had 27 trials. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
Because when he was telling me about it, I'm like, how would that work? Because I'd love to do like a private lesson with each person before they start. But on those months when we have 30 new people.
It's a lot.
Well, I got to get all the teens on board that help teach because they would I would have to oversee it, but I couldn't do them.
Right.
But they do some type of a goals meeting where they could sit and talk with the child and the parent on like what are their goals getting into martial arts. And I want to start doing something like that to like wean out people that maybe have a bad misconception of what martial arts is.
Right.
That just think, because we have people sign up like a week later, they're like, hey, when's testing?
Really?
You got 3 months minimum. Like,
like you're lucky if you're even getting. I mean, once you get into the higher ones, you're lucky that you're even going to get there.
And I tell kids all the time, I get parents all the time, well, aren't they going to test this time? No, they're a brown belt. It's okay. Actually, Jocelyn is a red belt. Recommendation.
Yep. 2
years ago, she got a brown belt. So she's went up 2 belts, brown, red, recommendation in 2 years. I don't rush it. And like I tell everybody, I don't rush it with my own kids. Like when they're ready, they're ready. We've had this talk with Bree before. When they're ready, they're going to be ready. There's no reason to rush it. This is so I'm looking at this. I got to reach out to Josh on how he structures it. Cause him and I are very in line with a lot of stuff we do.
Sets you apart a little different. I mean, you are set apart anyway, but like that kind of sets you apart a little differently.
I just think it would help too with any misconceptions of what people are getting. You know, they maybe watch Cobra Kai too much, or and a good way to kind of get to know me.
Yeah,
it's been one of those things. Like I for years didn't have anyone at the front desk because I wanted to deal with everyone when I enrolled them. Well, as we grew, that wasn't an option. I needed that. So I mean, that's something again.
The beginners class is how many kids when you start them? There seems like there's like 40 of them.
Yeah, it's normally about 40. Yeah, close to it, but then it weans out because there's a lot of people trying it, or you know. But I like the fact of doing that because you're able to set the person up for success. Like when I bid a job, we discuss it. Like you said, you're learning your clientele and you're learning who works with you. You know who you work with. I've had talks with. Like I said, I got a bunch of friends that have done hair. I mean, good Lord. When I was 22, I ran around with a whole group of girls that were all going to beauty school. And we've talked about that over the years, how you get clients that just don't work for you. A friend of mine, we referred her someone one time, and he was just an a-hole. And she was like, yeah, don't. And she put, you know, he thought maybe she'd be really wowed by how cool he was or something. It was wild, though, how you have to learn who you want to let inside that bubble, who you want to deal with.
As you go on, like you said, you can feel it. Like you can feel it. There's just a different energy, or the conversation's different. And I feel like with the profession I'm in, especially with the permanent makeup, like you can do your research like on your own. Like I just feel like when you're coming to set up an appointment, like you know whether you're going to want that or not. Like there should be no question whether you're going to want to tattoo your face or not, you know? And I don't need to convince you whether you want to do that or not. Either you want to, like you got to.
Yeah, you're not selling it. You're just educating.
Yeah, I just feel like you have to have some confidence in your own decision. And there are some people that you can just tell right off the bat that they're not confident in that decision. Yeah. It's going to cause you a lot of problems down the road. It's just not worth it. Like.
Well, and I'm very honest with people, whether it's at the school, people come in, hey, ask me how a kid did after first night. I'll be like, I think they need 6 more months because I'm just going to help myself not have headaches down the road.
Absolutely.
Or, you know what, your child's really mature, let's move them up. Or, you know what, I had a parent the other night wanted to know about bringing their child later one. I was like, he's just not ready mature enough yet. I was like, I know physically he's big enough, but he's not ready.
Right.
He's not ready for the adult class, for the fact there's a lot of all right, we worked on your form as a group, now go practice it. Yeah. They're not ready for that.
Like a confidence level.
And he wasn't ready. And you know, Dad was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, there's no disrespect. I'm just saying he's not. Other kids are not.
Well, I mean, but that makes you different, though, because you're being honest about it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saving myself the headache, too, and them. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff you could do with that. And I think that comes with maturing. Like, I meet entrepreneurs, I meet whatever they do. Even if you work at a salon where you don't rent your station, I still feel of hairdressers, and there's different trades or different tasks or jobs. I hate to use the word jobs, but that I feel is more of an entrepreneur shop. Yeah. Very skill set. Yeah, very entrepreneurial. Yeah. And I think that just comes with maturity. When I first opened the school, I'd take anybody.
That was me too. Like when you go out of your way, like do things for free.
I would just accommodate the hell out of some stuff that now I've just learned.
Which is good though. I mean, it gets you out there. It helps you to, like you said, mature.
And I had people tell me not to do that stuff, but I had to learn it on my own.
Absolutely.
Painting company was the same way. I would, tackle all sorts of stuff. Well, then once I started having crews, I realized who was better at what things. So now, if my guy that's really good at exterior work is booked out, I won't bid as much. And I've learned what works for us, what we're good at. I've gotten offers to do some huge jobs. Perrick buildings where they're big tilt-ups, probably $200,000 paint jobs plus. I've said no. And they're like, really? You're saying no? I'm like, I really don't. I don't know.
Crew to do it, right?
Yeah, or I've just dropped a builder, and I told him I don't have the crew to do it. I'm not really interested in trying to keep up with all your work and hiring the people.
Right.
I want to get you guys in a good spot so you're not screwed up just by being loyal to me, and I'm not going to put myself under being loyal to you.
Right.
we're all good. And he's like, cool, I totally respect that. I was like, no, I appreciate it. I didn't want to shortchange you guys, but I didn't want you guys to think like I was going to just bounce and not take care of anything with the existing houses.
Right.
I'm good. You call me for whatever you need.
Right.
But I just can't take on any more.
Consistent, like,
I just can't
jobs.
take on anymore. Yeah. They had just so much that I couldn't do
consistently.
Well, I just couldn't do all the repaint stuff too
Yeah.
to help me.
Yeah.
And I got to a size where I couldn't accommodate customers that had been a customer for 10 years.
Yes.
And that hurt.
Yeah.
But that's
it's like
just
that
part of growing.
Part, yep.
Yeah, but it's part of growing. I mean, you can only take care of them so far.
Yep.
But it's something I think that comes with age too, of reaching that 40-year-old mark where you're like, okay, this and this make more sense now. You look at it differently.
Yeah, and your time. Like, what are you going to do with your time?
And
Where are you spending your time? You know?
I think we become more aware of that
Absolutely.
too.
It becomes more important.
Yes.
You realize how precious it really is.
Yes.
You know, and who you're going to spend that time with and working with.
Well, I was explaining to Brooklyn and Jesse, I went up to Wichita and worked with them.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are you doing public speaking stuff? And I'm like, well, you get good money to go speak and motivational, and you can help people with the message.
Fun too.
And I like it. And they're like, I was like, well, I made $2,000 winning that contest. And they're like, oh, really? So what does public speaking pay?
So tell me about
that.
that.
And I was like, well, the really big guys that have like really big businesses and make a lot of money get like $100,000 plus to come speak for 30 minutes,
yes,
90 minutes, whatever. And they were like, huh?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah. I said, but you got to look at it. Because I told him I'm gonna charge a very pretty penny to speak.
Absolutely. Because
I'm looking at it of one, they're gonna get a lot of value out of what I say, but two, I'm leaving my family. I'm having to put people in place to take care of things.
Exactly. Is it worth it?
Yes, and I think you see that more where when we were younger, we didn't. We just were hustling and doing things and working.
You just do it. You just do what you need to do. Yep.
Yes, and then you hit a point, and I think it's somewhere,
around that 40 mark.
It's around that 40 mark. 30 was where I thought a lot of stuff changed, and then 40 was like, okay, now things are changing
30 is when you
more.
kind of, that light bulb goes on, like, okay, this is like, you kind of start reflecting on your life a little bit.
Yes.
Like, I should be a little, like, farther in what I'm doing,
yes.
or, and that light turns on for sure.
Yeah.
And it gives you
did that happen for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Sean and I got together, everything kind of came together for both of us. So, yeah. And then we had Brielle, and you know how it is when you have kids?
Yep.
Like, if that doesn't change you, I don't know what will. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Like, your whole perspective, everything changes.
Oh, for sure. I like
life,
researched
your example, everything, So, and like with the public speaking, the cool thing about what you're doing with that is the mentors that you get to meet. Like, you get to meet a lot of really cool people that have been on the other side of that confidence level, right? Like getting up in front of a bunch of people like that. I'm sure it's awesome. Pretty nerve-wracking too, right? Like at first, maybe.
For most people, yeah.
But you're like, no, I like it because you like.
It
stress.
wasn't nerve-wracking. I like the pressure.
You like the stress. Yeah.
I like the pressure.
Which is
like
good,
at the competition. It was an amazing experience. Everybody got up and told their story, and their stories were beautiful.
Yeah.
And I told Pastor Michael and I were talking about it the other night. He's like, "How'd that go? What'd you think?" And I was like, and we were discussing.
So he's like having you kind of like.
Well, we were discussing like the difference, because there's a difference in getting up and speaking and speaking.
Being effective,
and putting out there. And my coach Jesse Cruz has been amazing at teaching me how to deliver a message
and have the value in it too.
Yeah, but there's things that you could do. Like one of the guys got up and spoke, and he talked about a sexual situation he'd been put in college.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't say I was raped or I was touched or but he painted a picture. Mm-hmm. And there's ways to do that where one of the people got up on stage and was like, I was raped, and it just like everybody goes, holy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't say certain words.
Yeah, there's a certain way to deliver a message, bring the people along with you.
And get them to feel it.
Well, but and give them a message, and then you wrap it all up with a bow and send them out with a finished topic. They've learned something. They've connected with you. They've been on an emotional ride. There's such a difference between that and just getting up and talking about something that happened to you.
Right.
So that part of it's been so amazing, because that was one of my biggest things for doing this is I would write like a little mini speech for my competition team. Yeah. To pull them in before a competition. And you've seen me and my black belt girls. They're hard on me.
Yes,
so they're
they
like, that's one thing I tease the
funny.
Judges about down there. They're like, oh, you're so comfortable in front of us. I was like, if you guys only met
they
I have
beat
to
up on you emotionally, don't they?
Yes. I was like, well, I have to be like picked apart by on a daily basis.
Kindle especially.
I was like, y'all ain't shit. I was like, don't take any offense to that. But
like these girls,
oh my God,
eat me alive.
just all of them. I said something the other day and they were on me.
I love it though.
I do too. I wouldn't trade it for nothing, but I was teasing the judges. I'm like, you guys ain't nothing.
No.
But learning that message and how to do it. So like on day one, I spoke in a suit and I talked about business and I took my coat off and I threw it down. I did all the things, but that's all we talked about afterwards. All the judges threw their coats down. Like it was a big thing. I was a coat guy. So I left. I went out and bought casual clothes. Well, but I went out and bought new clothes because I was like, I don't want to be the suit guy. I don't want to be typed as that.
Because that's not really you, like, in a daily basis.
No, it isn't that. But if you watch a lot of speakers or podcast people or whatever, everybody's kind of got like a thing. Like there's the dude with the black shirts. There's the dudes that got the big beard. There's the dudes with the bright colors.
Big watches.
Yes, everybody's got a thing, which is nothing wrong with that. It's their niche. Let's say it's their niche. 'Cause I don't want to be disrespectful about it. But a lot of the speakers I was with came back on day 2, same exact, not outfit, but damn near the same thing. Nothing against them. That's their thing. That's my big thing. I wanted to learn how to better write a story or better tell a story to motivate and lead my black belts. I wanted to learn how to better break everything down because I get opportunities to go speak in the local schools. And I wanted to go deliver a message, not just rattle. I wanted to learn how to better put my sentences together for social media posts and speaking engagements. I wanted to
that's a good idea.
Do this public speaking for promoting my coaching business and my businesses in general. I wanted to, I had so many layers to why I was doing it. So when I did the suit thing, I was like, shit, now I'm gonna be a suit guy. Cause I had a second suit. I was planning on being in a suit both days. And I'm like, well, my subject, one of the things I realized that I had going for me that a lot of people didn't that do this stuff is they all have had like one traumatic thing and that's their thing. They're speaking and they're helping. Okay.
I've been to the events.
And they're helping. They're helping people.
You didn't have that trauma.
So many other things that I do. So day 2, I wore jeans and a t-shirt and spoke about Riley and our adventure with her losing weight, her kickboxing. I read part of a Christmas card she gave me, and I talked about being a leader and being a coach and broke it all down. It was a very emotional one. But I purposely changed up my tactics. But like that morning when they were calling off the numbers, they're like, this one's 3, this one's 4. And you could see everybody was like, I don't want to be number 1. I don't want to be number 1. I don't want to be number 1. And they're like, number 1, Matthew Boyer. I was like, yes,
give it to me.
Yes, give it to me. Are we ready? Let's go. And everybody's like, whoa.
You're weird.
Yeah, Jesse's like, you're ready, aren't you? And I was like, oh, I got this, baby. Because I was pumped. I was up all night practicing. I was up early. I had breakfast. I was ready to do it. And when they called us to stage, we had to walk out to our music. I ran up stage, grabbed the mic. I was like, I was kind of giggling because, it was the competitor side of me too that was like, I'm gonna psych everybody out. I know how psych outs work. And I told one of the people kind of gave me a little crap afterwards. She said she didn't think I should have won. She goes, you only convinced the judges. I was like, well, they're the only ones with a scorecard.
That really matter.
Yeah. And I told her, I was like, well, here's the deal. I'm a professional competitor. I've competed in jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, kickboxing, sport karate, speaking competitions, 5Ks. Like I can't even I drag racing. Like I've competed in a lot of stuff, so I know how to compete. So I know the psych outs. I know different things. So I pulled every trick out of the book to make sure I was ready. But I wasn't nervous. I anticipate getting, just like when I fight, like I anticipate the walkout, but the actual fight doesn't I've trained. I put in the work. I knew what I did. I know it's going to go one way or the other. I'm going to get knocked out. The referee's going to step in, or I'm going to knock them out. The referee's going to step in. One way or another, 50-50 shot.
You're used to getting hit, so it's not a big deal.
Like I told him with the speaking, I was like, most of the time when I make a walk to music, I have to fight someone. I was like, shoot, talking to you guys?
This is easy, right? Like,
I was like, I'm not sweating this that bad. I'm not, but I wanted to do it. And so I want to keep going from it, but that was kind of the goal, was to learn that.
How to just motivate your girls, right?
Well, the biggest thing was just to take the comp team and be able to really inspire them. And every time I'd go to do it, I'd kind of botch it. I'd get something pumped up. I'd even be listening to stuff in my headphones, like my favorite speakers. And then I'd be like, just do good, don't suck. Okay? That's it. Like our typical, like our banter. But that's kind of part of it and as we go in life, though, we look at those things differently. Like you said, you're wanting to build up and find a clientele. And, I we've talked a bunch. You've been doing different things to get out there, which does not, you know, does that come naturally to you to go do all that stuff?
So I have to say, God gives me a lot of confidence. Like, I pray a lot. Like, okay. And really over this, really with the permanent makeup, because you are tattooing people's faces. Let's face it, that's a little nerve-wracking. And there's lots of process to make sure that it's good, and it's, you know, very nerve-wracking. So, you know, all last year when I was going through school, it was prayer, like a lot of prayer, and just work through my hands, like all that. And that's really, I think, where I gained a lot of that confidence. Talking, like I've told you this. I don't know why I was so nervous about this. This is stupid.
I know, you talk fine. Yeah, we talk all the time at school, but you put a microphone, you're worried. I can talk to any stranger.
It's not even that big of a deal, but that is something, though, that I have told myself. I'm going to do things that are going to make me uncomfortable. Yeah. Because if you don't do those things, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay complacent. You're going to stay in the same place that you're miserable in, or your mind just doesn't expand. You don't grow as a person. And since I did the Beachbody thing, that's where really a lot of that mindset stuff started coming in, like Grant Cardone and all those guys, like reading their books and all of that. You know, you can read the book, and if you're not putting it into action, you're never going to go anywhere.
No, they tell you to. A lot of the people will tell you, if you read one book, what was it? You got to take one thing from each book and apply it, or you're wasting your time. Well, and I think too,
full of knowledge,
a lot of people just make an excuse instead of taking the risk to get better.
Yes.
And get out of it. One thing I talked about when I was on stage is, like, I was really shy. I could teach class, but it's to a point. I can't
see you being shy.
Oh, God.
I really can't see you being
super
shy.
Bad.
That's funny.
Super bad. No, didn't talk to people at school, head down, the whole 9 yards. I would get up and teach class, but I'd almost have a heart attack.
Really? That's funny.
I could work with people, and, like, once I got comfortable, I'd talk.
Yeah.
But I was shy, so I realized that if I ever wanted a girlfriend, if I ever wanted to go anywhere with my jobs, I had to break it. So I went and got a job at American Eagle.
There you go. So
and
I
worked
to, like, style people
I went up there and I walked Mid Rivers Mall until I found the store that scared me the most.
Really?
And I was like, dude, I was like, because I seen like 3 popular people from high school in there. I was like, there's no way.
I can't do this.
I was like, there's no way. I stood out front. I went in. They hired me. And even after they hired me, I kept looking. They had a back room where they would, like, organize the jeans and all that stuff. And I was
there.
I was like, man, this lady needs help. They're like, nope, Robin. There was a lady, like, was probably in her 40s back then. I was like, oh, she's like 80.
She's really old.
Yeah. Probably was our age back then. But she would come in and work back there. So that was like her thing.
Yeah.
And the first thing they did was like, well, we were introducing a new fragrance, Matt. We want you to work the door.
Really?
You want what?
I'm not doing that.
My very first day, Abby sent me up front, and I had to stop everybody came in the store.
Your very first day?
Very first day.
Oh my goodness.
I had to stop everybody coming in the door and be like, would you like to try the new fresh fragrance from American Eagle called Alive?
Right.
And then I would walk them over, and I had my kiosk, and I had to set my stuff, and I would, pitch them.
Yeah.
And because of that fear, I would work with a lot of, like, little old ladies all the time.
Yeah.
Which is what's actually why I ended up leaving the job, because I got accused of stealing sales, like putting the wrong initials in. And I wasn't versed enough at sales to realize that all these little old ladies I was helping were buying $800-900 worth of clothes. I wasn't stealing. I was killing the dude that was in charge. I was smoking him. Yeah. Later on, when I learned more about sales, I realized that's why my boss dealt me such a fit, not Abby, Dan.
Yeah.
Because he was their top sales guy. He won everything every year. That was the big thing I kept hearing about. Well, because I was afraid, I would go talk to all the little grandmas, and they would buy their grandkids all their clothes.
Yeah.
And I was just always kind of hanging out, helping people. But I talk about it. That's like what started that process. And then I had to get the repetitions in to break it. Yep. So I got tired of working in clothes. I only made it a couple months. I was like, I hated the hours. I hated working at the mall.
The retail, yeah.
Just everything about it. And so I went to Jiffy Lube. I just want to work on cars. First day, Dan's like, you need to be on the computer with the customers. I was like, no, I came to a car place. I want to be
hide down there.
Yeah, I want to be a grease monkey. And my buddy that had gotten a job with me could not talk to people. And Dan was like, yeah, you're on the computer.
Yeah,
he's like, you're on the computer.
That's funny.
Because every once in a while, Charles was like, that's it, I'm done. I'm quit. You put me on the computer, put Matt in the pit. I'd make it like 40 minutes. And I'd be like, go back downstairs. God, you're bad with people. Because he was just say stuff. He's a great guy.
Like, kind of just no filter, like, at all.
Just just had a way of saying things. I just was comfortable with people, and I always could read vibes. Like I had customers that came in that were adult women that were super cool, and they liked me because I didn't talk down to them.
Right.
They'd stick their fingers in the transmission fluid. They were my favorite car. I thought they were like the coolest women on earth because they were like, they weren't afraid of their car.
Right.
But I just had to keep getting the reps in. But you find so many people are like, oh, I'm not good at that. I'm afraid of it.
Well, that's why you need to do it, though. If you want to grow in that area, you've got to. I mean, like, you just have to.
No matter what you're doing, you have to get the repetitions in. You have to do it. My first episode I shot on the podcast, friend Katie was like, how many of these have you done? I'm like, it was the first one. What? Yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, but I spent like a year studying it and like practicing like what I wanted to do.
Listening to other people, right? Do it. Like
I listened to a bunch of different ones because I like a bunch of different ones anyways. And was like, okay, I like their style. And this one, you know, okay, they got notes. They do this. Okay, this one does that. I was like, cool.
Notes kind of catch you up sometimes, though. Like,
I don't have
having
notes.
An
I don't want to.
Organic conversation, I think, is so much better.
I don't even go check your guys' Facebook pages to like find out any details on the businesses.
That's a good idea.
I purposely try to avoid looking at them so that I don't have any preconceived notions. So they are legitimate questions.
Yeah.
I've had a couple people come on that I thought did something different than what they do. They had a day job that I knew them through, but they were coming on to talk about a business. Didn't know that.
Yeah, you had no idea.
But it was great because we had a great conversation about it. And I wanted to do that. I wanted it to be just very off the cuff, very organic. And I wanted it to be a place where we could chat about real life stuff, not just plug the business. Nobody's going to listen to that. It gets
boring. Yeah.
Well, but nobody's going to listen to that.
Well, you don't see the personality of the other person, I don't think, either.
No,
I mean,
and
you really can't get to know the person.
Yes, and the whole point of this is for people to learn about local business owners in Lincoln County. Yeah. They can Google your business. They can't always Google you.
Yeah, exactly.
And get to know your personality. Exactly. They might see an ad on Facebook, be like, oh, cool, but then when they meet you, they might not like you.
Exactly.
My thing on the website for the school, it's probably different now because we built a new site. I'd have to go look at what's on there. Always said to check out other schools. The heart of the school is going to be whether you get along with the instructor's style. Okay. I've had a ton of students come in over the years that came from a certain style of dojo, and when their instructor quit or they moved,
or their parents did, right?
Whatever it is, they never have been able to mesh with me.
Yep.
Or they meshed with me very well because maybe they went to a school that was super hardcore.
Which I've heard about a lot of those.
Yes, and there's a lot that the guys, they're a legend in their own mind. They're super 1970s karate. And those guys are great. They have their place. I love training under those guys. That's what Taekwondo was like when I was a kid. It was hard. Yeah. But I'm not that guy, but the class is disciplined. There is a difference there. But so some people are like, ooh, I love this because, man, when I was a kid, my parents put me in a school and I hated it. I love this, But you got to get to mesh with that. I've had people come in that I could tell they thought they knew everything and I should do it a certain way. And when they leave, I'm like, whew, thank goodness they're gone.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people competitions is good. It's good to have other painting companies and other martial arts and other salons.
It keeps you on your toes.
But everybody's going to find what fits them.
Exactly. And they should.
Yes.
I shouldn't just go to have you paint my house because somebody told me that.
Yeah, just because you need to know if you like that company, you value what they value.
Totally agree.
And that's the biggest thing with getting out and talking and doing the events and stuff like you've been doing and putting yourself out there more is you're just like it is for me in painting. Martial arts, I feel like, is something people Google and then figure out if they like you.
Yep.
Painting is something that you call a friend about. Your stylist is something that oh, hey, man, girl, your hair looks good. Who do you go to?
Exactly.
Those are, I've ran ads for a painting company and it generated a lot of leads, but then I had to start actually trying to close people. It wasn't like when people are like, hey man, my realtor Anthony just called, said I need you to come look at this project. Yeah. It's pretty much, they're going to do it as long as I don't try to extort them for a ton of money on the job. As long as I'm fair and honest, they're done.
Exactly. I think you have to be fair and honest in business, I think,
you do.
Too.
You do, but you don't, if I were to go in and just skyrocket it because their buddy referred me and I know I got the job, well, then I wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
But because I'm honest with it.
Integrity.
Yes, and that's going to be the same thing with you. If someone comes in and wants a certain thing done and you're not comfortable with it, you tell them no.
Do it. Don't do it.
You just don't.
Because that's going to be all over. I mean, first of all, if you're not confident in doing somebody's brows or their lips or their liner or do a certain haircut or a certain color or whatever, your name's going to be on that.
Yep.
And especially in a small town like we have.
Well,
like
we've seen the posts where people are like, this person botched this.
I just saw one the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh. And you feel terrible for the person but why didn't you just say no? Like, I'm not to that skill level yet. Like, I'm not, I'm not going to do that.
I reached out the other day for a tattoo, and I messaged her, said I want a tattoo, and I'm super excited because I do not have a tattoo from a female artist, so I'm like so stoked.
I was going to say, you pretty much get your tattoos by the same guy.
Wally, Jason, and JD are my main three. Mike did my knuckles. I've done some through Mike. Johnny did the fingertips. So you
got a few of them that you
Couple,
trust.
but I pretty much, Jason and I are pretty much most all my artwork.
Yeah.
Probably get a few more from JD because actually Main Street Tattoo is now Savage Ink Main Street.
Okay, so they're
JD,
so
yes.
did the
Johnny's moving to O'Fallon.
Okay, so the guy that is what's his last name? Jansky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's moving.
He's moving. Yeah, he told me our morning at the gym he's looking at something in O'Fallon. I don't know if that's public yet, but this won't be out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And JD was at Jammer Joint, and then he was at the Copper Fox. And then he came out with Johnny for a little bit, but he moved down to Florida. JD was one of my kickboxers. Dude's got his face tatted up. Him and his kids all came to the school.
Cool.
He's opened Savage Ink now. They should be rocking and rolling soon.
So he's going to take the spot on Main Street Tattoo.
He owns that and the one in Florida, and him and his brother are going to run them or something like that. They're going to take care of that. So I'll have more. He's, I didn't know it yet, but he's going to do my palm. Doing my palm.
What are you doing to your palm?
I'm having the Nordic sign for manifestation.
Okay.
I'm gonna have JD do some type of a hustle type version of it.
Has he ever done a poem before? Like,
he's done everything. His wife's got his face. He's done his wife's face, and the other in process of doing her head, and So I want him to do the palm, and I want him to do it because we both are big into all that hustle, success type stuff, and so it's gonna mean a lot. But no, I reached out to Krista that was up there with Johnny. She's gonna do my next one, and I told her what I was wanting. She's like, "What kind of font? What kind of this?" I said, "So here's the deal. You're the tattoo artist. I'm just the body. I want you to design it, and this is about where I want to put it.
Yep.
But I chose you because I like your artwork and I trust you.
Yeah.
Go." And she's like, "That's badass, thanks."
Yeah.
Wally on all of these.
How
Wally was like, "I'll send you."
I would rather the artist do it. I want
It's
to
your
see
job.
what you can come up with.
Yeah, I hired you because you're an artist.
Cool,
I can Google shit all day long.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't want to Google anything I got.
Right.
And I on these, I told Wally what phrase I wanted, and he's like, "All right, I'll send you some font samples." I'm like, "Nah, bro, no. You're the font guy. Like, I was referred to you by other tattoo artists." That have your work on them.
Yeah, because
you're the
font
dude.
guy,
He's like, "Well, I am the dude." I was like, "You're the dude." So here's where I want it. Here's what I want. Do what you gotta do, bro. Do what you do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, cool. We ended up doing 2 sessions both time. He was like, "Screw this. Let's trick this bad boy out." He said, "You're cool." I'm like, "I'm good. You do it. You're you're the guy." Like, I'm not gonna be like, "Ooh, could you do this?" No, your guy does these all day long.
Exactly. It's like
your job.
Telling somebody how to do their job.
It's so stupid. And if you hire that person, you're hiring them because of what they're good at.
Exactly. What you've seen. Like,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just going from, so-and-so's word of mouth. Like, hey,
no,
go get your tattoo. You need to see the work.
Yeah. So I told her, I'm like, "No, you dig it. You do this, you do that, whatever. I'll just show up, throw it on." I was like, I did want it up here above my owl. Because my whales and my Canada.
Are you completely tatted, like, on the torso and everything? Or is
back,
it just...
chest is all the way down to here. Well, the tail comes here.
Okay.
I got some sensitive area. Basically, I got left sensitive areas, and then Jason and I are planning a full leg.
Okay.
That I've got to start work on.
I've seen some full legs, which are pretty cool.
Well, we're gonna do a storyboard comic book style leg piece of all the martial art movies I grew up watching.
Okay.
But it's gonna be like, it's not gonna be a realism picture from each one.
Okay.
It's gonna be something iconic. Like, do you know the movie Bloodsport?
I've heard
it's a Van Damme movie. There's a part where it grabs the guy's headband and grabs the headband. So I want the fist with the headband.
That's cool. Yeah.
There's like different things from different movies. There's an inhaler in the movie Sidekicks with Chuck Norris. There's a couple different things. So I'm going to go through all of them and pick something. And I showed him what I wanted. I said, I want kind of like a comic book themed movie storyboard of all the stuff. I said, but I don't want the name of the movies.
Right.
I want to do somewhere
people to ask you.
My buddies that watch martial arts, he's like, "Oh, that's the mask from Three Ninjas." Like the Three Ninjas. I want the little masks.
That's
you
cool,
know.
Yeah.
There's going to be something from all of like my favorite ones.
That's cool.
In all of them that I could come up with. Now, there's going to be some movies, like Seagal did a bunch of movies, that'll be kind of hard because they're all the same thing. He's a cop and on him. But I'll probably do like something Aikido or a name, like one of the names from one of his movies. Like, I'm going to go through a lot of them. There's one called Tiger Claw I liked where it's like a slash. So it'll be like
cool.
Yeah, I'm going to put together
Just
all
kinda
the
put it
images
all
and we're going to
together.
plan out a whole leg.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I ran it
Really
past
cool.
him when he did my thumbs. I was like, hey, what do you think? He's
That'd
like,
be cool.
that's dope. I'm like, all right, cool. So, because I always want to make sure whoever I'm working with is like really into it.
Yes. Yeah, you have to.
Even if like with Jay, I got to push him a little bit. Like on
it's
my
not going
back, he
anywhere.
was like, man, there's some really cool dudes that do Japanese. I'm like, I want you to do it, Jason.
Right.
I was like, we're friends. I love
Right.
your work.
And you know me.
And
You
like
know my
halfway through
style.
it, he's like, I'm really glad you pushed me to do this because I'm having a blast. I was
Yeah.
like, it's all good. Sometimes,
So sometimes they all have to.
I
get
was like,
pushed
yeah, I
past
got that on
point,
jobs too, where I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I might be like, oh, I really want you guys to do it. Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. So,
Yeah.
but that's kind of the purpose of that I kind of see with this stuff is, with being a hairdresser, you got to trust that person.
Absolutely.
Permanent makeup on your face, you really got to trust that person.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd be surprised at the amount of, I mean, you have tattoos, the amount of money that people will pay just because you see that person's work. Like you
Yes.
need to make sure that
Well, and you
vibe
got to
with
trust them that
person.
it's going to look real. I mean, just like tattoos,
Yep.
always blows my mind. So when we were doing my chest, the amount of people popped in the tattoo studio and was like, who's the cheapest? I was like,
No.
why do
you don't want to do
like
that.
by the end of the day, I was like, all right, guys, I got a
So
question.
bad.
Is that every day? They're like, every freaking day.
I don't doubt
People
it a
pop
bit.
in and want to know who's the cheapest,
don't
who's
doubt it.
the
Why would you wanna do that?
who's the easiest to get into. And I'm like, that was one thing.
You
when
want the person that's most booked.
yeah.
You want that person.
Yeah. When Jason was like, I can't get to you for 3 months, I'm like, deal, how much?
Yep.
I've bid jobs before for really picky clients that were like, when can you get me in? Like they asked it in a way like I wasn't going to get the job. I couldn't get them in soon. I'm like, I can't be here for 3 months.
Right.
And the guy was like, where do I sign?
Right.
I said, what do you mean? I said, the last 2 customers got mad at me. He goes, good, but if you're booked out 3 months with that many employees, you're going to do a good job on my house. I'm good. And I painted for him for 5 years now.
It's funny because there was a client, and that really struck me, and this has stuck with me ever since, but I used to work at Beauty Brands in Wentzville, and this client came in. It was the first time I ever did it, and she's like, my mom always told me that you look for the stylist that's hair is not done. Like, theirs isn't fresh and done. That's the one you want to go to because they're too busy to get theirs done. I'm like, that's really
Wow, yeah. That's a great way to like feed that out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I never even thought of it, but I'm like, that's really intelligent.
Yeah.
It's wise.
Well, and for sure, that's funny because I've got friends that are the same way that are always like, oh, don't look at me today. I'm just let me cut your hair
terrible,
because
yeah.
they're like, I've been just too busy.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It completely makes sense
Yep.
because if you got all that free time.
Yep.
Well, and you just kind of got to learn what to look for. And that's the biggest thing I think that people forget with their marketing. People look at marketing their business as just trying to go out and get more leads, but
It's not about
you
that.
got to tell your story. You got to let people meet you and see what you do. And like a customer coming and meeting you, knowing that you really care how their face looks.
Absolutely.
Like that means a lot to you. I see you post stuff and share it. You're proud of your work and you want them to be happy with that.
Absolutely. And I want to be happy too.
Yes.
Like, I mean, we both need to
Well,
be
it's a
happy.
selfish thing. You want to
Yeah.
do a really good job for them
Absolutely.
so that you feel good about
Absolutely.
it too, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong with social media is I'll click on pages of friends or people I know that have a business and it's coupon, post, but it's all like selling you, or asking you
You're
to
not
come
adding any
in.
value.
Or if it's a realtor, it's open house. Painters, look at this one. I did this. I'm the best.
But like, who are you?
Tell your story.
Who
With
are
the
you?
school, I've been really good about that, at telling a story of what the school is, how the interactions are. I'm very organic with it, and I've tried to do that with the painting company.
Yep.
It's a little different
I
because
was
I'm
gonna
not
say that's a lot
in the
different.
painting
Yeah.
company all day
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Like we're not all in the same building, so that's been more of a struggle.
Yeah.
But I don't think people look as much to that. But I do if we have a party or we do lunch or I post all that.
Yeah.
I think that's important for people to remember is you're telling a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're painting a picture for the customer of what they're going to get dealing with you.
Yeah.
If your personal social media is bitching and complain, hey guys, how's everybody doing?
So I got this deal going on.
Yeah. It's like
Buy one, get one free.
out. Yeah, get out of here.
Yeah.
But you see that, and what's funny is like Andy Frischella and all them. I've done the Arte coaching. He talks about that. He goes, I look for that shit. You want a job here?
Who are you?
I see on here that you're talking shit on another business for something ridiculous.
That's
I don't.
yucky too.
If you have the mentality to sit down and make that post, I don't want you.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I try to do that with my stuff. Like I've had opportunities to put some, and I'm like, I'm not going to even post this.
It's not worth it because it does. It comes back negatively on you. It really does.
It does, but also people feed off it. So you're going to be busy all afternoon with that shit. You can put up the most positive thing ever.
Yep.
And you'll get
people
two
are like,
things.
yep. Isn't that funny?
That W-2, the guy that messaged me for another person's W-2 information, I told him to F off because I was in the middle of teaching class.
Yeah.
That had like 80 something comments on, because he posted on the We Love Troy page, AKA Troy sucks and we want to go on there and badmouth it. So listen to Lincoln County Podcast instead.
Right, exactly.
I make fun of that page every chance I get because that's all it is. It's person. But it had like 78 or 80 something comments before I even seen I was in it. Julie come up to the school, was like, hey, friend, you're popular tonight. I was like, oh, let me get on there. Hey, in case you didn't read my text, F you again. Like I was heated.
Yeah.
And I was really heated. They thought he was going to post it, Troy. And I was like, oh my God, no, don't.
Like melt.
No, I'm going to tell
you. Who you are.
I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. Because when they deleted it, I was upset because I was actually going to put a post I was going to put a plug for the podcast under it. Be like, well, since everybody's watching it now, check out our newest episode.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Joey was dying. Joey's like, that would be great. Yeah. I was mad because
like, dang it, I didn't get that opportunity.
My buddy that runs the page actually didn't delete it, but one of his admins did. And he's like, it's off the page now. And I'm like, no, that had so much traffic.
Yeah,
it's like that could have went to 200.
Yep.
And 90% of them were on my side unless they were dipwads and they were like, yeah, he's a jerk. Yeah, sorry, I outbid you on a job.
Right.
You know.
Too funny.
It's telling that story.
Yeah.
And coming on stuff, doing a podcast, talking about what you do. So, and something I'm getting much better at now, and remember this. So where can people find you and find your business? I keep forgetting to ask people.
You mean
this
like
at
on
the end.
social media?
Yep.
Okay, so Jen Fette on social media. I also have a JL Salon. It's just JL Salon on Facebook, and then Jen Fette, and then also on Instagram it's Jen Fette as well.
Okay. So, any website or anything
Google, yet? JL salon.com.
JL-salon.com.
Yep.
I'm getting better at that. I realized
That's
that.
Good. I like
I
that.
had Stu was on from the Guild, Men's Fellowship, and we were talking. We went like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And at the end, he's like, man, Guild Fellow. I'm like, oh, I totally should be asking everybody that. I was like, huh, how did I forget that part of the podcast?
When I do my posts, I'm always like, crap, I forgot to put my phone number and my website on there. I'm like, shit, so I have to go back and edit it. But
I've done that a few times. But with your posts, though, people are going to DM your page anyways. So I don't find that that's as necessary. I did have a laugh. We did koozies for the parade in case he threw them up. And I was like, hey, we're not going to put phone number or website. Nobody cares about that. They're going to Google us anyways. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Oh, my God, the entire parade. What's the phone number? How come the website's on here? She's up by the window. I was like, I don't hear anything. What do you hear? Because we got done with it. She's like, oh, don't worry.
You like to get her shit, don't you?
Never, no, not on stuff like that. Because even me mentioning it wasn't on there turned into, it's not a big deal. Like what I'm like, I don't really care. I'm just asking, whatever. Who cares? They can Google us. I've got bigger things to worry about than that. But oh my God, every other person said something. She was just shooting me eyes. I'm like, because after about a half hour of the parade, I was just laughing at this point.
Yeah.
Because Phil's like, man, everybody's really worried about this website shit, right? No, she was like,
she's pissed.
She's like, I'll go back through with the marker and write it on
give
there.
Me a Sharpie.
Dying.
Yeah, that's funny.
I had to die because you could hand someone a bar of gold and they'd be like, there's fingerprints. Like,
you're so freaking right.
It's just society these days.
It is.
And
you can't please everybody.
No, there's a comedian that talks about it, and I wish I'd have saved it, but they talk about most people's parental generation. My parents were much older, and they're like, it's your fault. It's your guys' fault. And they lay it out there, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Let's blame it on them. It was just funny. It was just how
the parents,
they're like, you guys started participation trophy crap. You guys did this, and now our 40-year-old asses are having to deal. It was, oh my gosh, it was a good one.
Yeah.
So, but love having you on. I appreciate it. I won't keep you any longer. This was great. See, you didn't throw up. You didn't get nervous.
I'm good.
You did so good. Thank you guys for checking out the Lincoln County Podcast today. Again, we had a blast. Check out Jen and everything she's doing, and we will see you guys next time.